And if we have any out-of-towners, I'd like to welcome you all to Charleston and to South Carolina. My name is Simon Lewis. I'm an Associate Director of the Carolina Lowcountry and Atlantic World Program, better known by its acronym, which is CLAW. And I'm also the Director of the African Studies Program at the College of Charleston, where I teach in the English department. We're also, of course, not a southeastern city, we're also a western city, because we are west of the Atlantic, we're west of Northern Europe, and we are more profoundly, in this particular space, west of the west coast of Africa. So we've been trying to make people rethink their sense of geography and their sense of history by making them think about Carolina and the Charleston Carolina Lowcountry in this Atlantic world context. And the talk tonight is very much going to be addressing that. Because it's going to be looking at the Africa in some ways that was set up in the Caribbean through the process of maroonage. So that is, of course, exactly what we've got to look forward to. But that is about it from me. I don't want to take anybody else's thunder here. Do just want to welcome everybody here to the College of Charleston and the Avery Research Center. Thank you all for coming, and introduce Lorna Shelton-Beck. Who will then tell us more about the actual characters. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'd just like to take a few minutes to share with you about the Caribbean American Heritage Month. Caribbean American Heritage Month is the brainchild of Dr. Claire Nelson. And with much hard work, it was recognized, adopted, and proclaimed by the President. And President Bush signed the first proclamation making June Caribbean American Heritage Month. And that's very special because in some Caribbean islands, there are actually more Caribbean people living here than living back on those islands. We are all over the place, and we're certainly here in the United States of America, and we have made great contributions to the United States of America. You can find us everywhere, every facet that you can possibly think of, from music to dance to science. I mean, we're just everywhere, and we have certainly made an outstanding contribution. And if I were to go down the list of names and just call out a couple names and say, you'd never believe these people have Caribbean heritage. And if I were to say to you, Alicia Keys, you know, you'd say, no, she's a New York girl. Well, her daddy's from Jamaica, you know, and I could go down the list on and on and on. So with that in mind, you know, they made this month a time to recognize all the wonderful contributions that Caribbean American people have made. For us here in Charleston, we have South Carolina Caribbean Culture and Heritage, and our goal is to bring everybody together, all from all the different Caribbean islands, and all the people from America who are interested in preserving the culture of the Caribbean. Because after all, as you'll see once you start looking at this movie, we're more related than we think or know. And so we'd like you to remember that June is Caribbean American Heritage Month. We celebrate this with Carnival, because Carnival is so indigenous to the Caribbean islands. Just about every island celebrate Carnival, and everywhere you find Caribbean people, you find a Carnival. We find some way to get it started. It may not go exactly the way they do it in the islands, but believe it or not, somewhere along the line, we're going to have a festivity. And I'll take this time to say, you know, we'll have our parade on Saturday. It's different from American parades, so you slowly get used to that. Our parades don't come with a lot of vehicles. We have people that walk, they dance literally behind big trucks. You know, as our song would say, follow the big truck. We literally follow the big truck and dance. And we're hoping that as we keep doing this, that other people will embrace this part of our culture and join in celebrating in our parade. So when you leave here tonight, please share the word with your friends, family, and neighbors to come out and watch the parade on Saturday. The parade starts at 3. It goes from the Visitor Center on King Street, goes down to Sumter, then it turns up Sumter, up to Haywood, and literally leads into Brittlebank Park, where of course we'll have the cultural celebration. And this year we celebrate Jamaica. So as a result, we'll have a little bit of representation of people that have formed the culture of Jamaica. You know, when I tell people that we have the formation of Jamaica, you know, we started out with the Taínos, with the Indians, then the Spaniards came, they ruled Jamaica for 200 years, they brought African slaves with them. Then the English came, of course that was the height of the African trade, so we had even more Africans. But then when slavery was abolished, they went to India and brought Indians. Then they went to China and brought the Chinese people. Then we had people from Lebanon and Syria. Then when Germany kicked out Jews, they came to Jamaica. So we are a true melting pot, and that's why our motto is out of many one people. So with all that, because I could tell you, I could go on forever, but in the interest of time, I will say thank you all very much for coming. It's indeed wonderful to see you all. And we hope that you will join us in recognizing Caribbean people during June as Caribbean American Heritage Month. Thank you.
I am from Barbados, and not quite yet a Caribbean American, but slowly getting there. The little American fee right now is pretty high, but I will slowly get there. And Simon was talking about geography, and I must tell you that every time I open my mouth in America and that funny sound comes out, that funny accent, oh, where are you from? The Caribbean. Oh, you're from Jamaica. So we're celebrating Jamaica, and in honor of Lorna, I tried to get the colors of Jamaica, but I'm afraid that I missed out a bit on the green. So the governor has sent us her proclamation from the state of South Carolina, the governor's proclamation. Listen carefully. Whereas, from our nation's earliest beginnings, America has inspired the hopes and dreams of countless individuals from around the world who have come to share in our gifts of freedom, justice, and opportunity. And whereas in their vibrant traditions and unique history, Caribbean Americans have made countless contributions to the fabric of our state and nation. And whereas through their strong spirit and character, Caribbean Americans make lives for themselves and their families. And whereas Caribbean American Heritage Month provides an opportunity to recognize the contributions of Caribbean Americans to the formation of our nation and the creation of our rich heritage. Now therefore, I, Nikki R. Haley, Governor of the great state of South Carolina, do hereby proclaim June 2012 as Caribbean American Heritage Month throughout the state, and encourage all South Carolinians to recognize the accomplishments of Caribbean Americans in the Palmetto State. Signed, Nikki R. Haley, Governor of the State of South Carolina. And I now present this to Lorna.
Thank you, Sonia. That was a marvelous proclamation from the governor of the great state of South Carolina. My name is Dean Riggle. I'm Mayor Pro Tem of the great city of Charleston, South Carolina. I currently represent District 10, one of the largest districts in our great city, west of the beautiful Ashley River. And I'd like to thank Lorna for having me here tonight. Appreciate that. Dr. Lewis, appreciate the invitation, the opportunity. It's a great honor and privilege to be here tonight. This is my second of 3 events tonight. I think this is going to be my most enjoyable event. The South Carolina Caribbean Culture Heritage Incorporated was founded in 2006 with the mission to honor and study, preserve, and promote the cultural heritage of the Caribbean. A marvelous mission. Culture and Heritage Foundation is promoting understanding and awareness of the Caribbean culture through festivals, showcasing art, culture, education, while at the same time embracing diversity. That's very important. A great city like Charleston, we all know, history, our legacy, our heritage is multicultural, multi-denominational. And I think, frankly, that's what makes the city of Charleston such a great, great city, and I'm always proud to represent the city. Each year, the festival showcases a particular Caribbean country and culture. 2008 focused on St. Kitts and Nevis, and please correct me if my research is wrong. 2009 was beautiful St. Lucia. 2010 was Barbados. What a marvelous, beautiful place that is. And last year, if I'm not mistaken, Dominican Republic was honored. Before I read the proclamation from the great city of Charleston, I did want to give special thanks to Lorna Shelton-Beck, the president. Your leadership and energy and guidance has enabled this organization to flourish and grow. And I thank you for that. The great city of Charleston thanks you for that. As a side note, I serve on the executive committee of the Mardi Gras of Charleston, and Lorna is quite involved in that. And boy, can she dance. I can't even try to keep up with you. Let me now read the proclamation of the City of Charleston I made. Whereas during Caribbean American Heritage Month, we celebrate the great contributions of Caribbean Americans to the fabric of our nation. We pay tribute to the common culture and bonds of friendship that unite the United States and the Caribbean countries. And whereas for centuries, Caribbean Americans have enriched our society and added to the strength of America. And they have been leaders in government, sports, entertainment, the arts, and many, many other fields. And whereas during the month of June, we also honor the friendship between the United States and the Caribbean countries. We are united by our common values and our shared history and legacies. I join all Americans in celebrating the rich Caribbean heritage and the many ways in which Caribbean Americans have helped shape this great nation. Now, therefore, I, Dean C. Riggle, Mayor Pro Tem, City of Charleston, Joseph P. Riley Jr., Mayor, City of Charleston, do hereby proclaim June 2012 as Caribbean American Heritage Month in the City of Charleston, and encourage all of our citizens far and wide to learn more about the history of Caribbean Americans and their contributions to our community. Signed proclamation, Joseph P. Riley Jr., Mayor of the great City of Charleston. In closing, I thank you for allowing me to participate and be present tonight. Please have a great, great Charleston. Thank you, Lawrence. I guess next is you.
What you have. Is that okay? Is that okay? Yes, I will. Okay. Thank you, Lord.
I just have a few more things to go over for you. I'm going to be moderating the program. First of all, I just want to kind of give you an idea of what we're going to do. I'm going to do some introductions of a little bit about the filmmaker who is not here with us tonight. I'm going to introduce the facilitator here, Dr. Fuller, and give you a little brief synopsis of the film that we're going to see. Then we'll show the film, and following the film, Dr. Fuller will lead us in a discussion of the film. We'll take questions and have a dialogue about the film. So, Akwantu The Journey explores the important part of Jamaican culture that has long fascinated observers. Through the film, audiences will learn about a people, the Maroons, who are often referred to as the Spartacus of their time. Except those enslaved Africans were victorious in their fight for freedom. Poorly armed and outgunned, these brave warriors engaged the mighty British superpower over an 80-year period to a military stalemate. As a result, 2 peace treaties were signed in 1739 that established the Maroons' self-government for the first time in the New World. This fact is not lost on modern-day Maroons, like Jamaican-born, New Jersey-based director Roy T. Anderson, who, with this film, has set out to weave his own personal ancestral sojourn with a more significant historical journey that tells the tale of his heroic ancestors. Because of its significance, the Jamaican government has officially selected this film to participate in its historic 50th anniversary of independence celebration in 2012. If you follow along with me in your program, there's a brief bio of Mr. Anderson. He's a writer, director, and producer of the first feature-length documentary, Akwantu The Journey. He was born in Jamaica. Anderson immigrated with his family to Toronto, Canada in the early 1970s. He graduated with a Bachelor of Arts from York University in 1988, and he now resides in New Jersey. Our facilitator tonight is going to be Dr. Harcourt T. Fuller. He's from the Georgia State University. He received his PhD from the International History Department at the London School of Economics and Political Science in 2010. His research and teaching interests include the international history of Africa, particularly pre-colonial African kingdoms and empires, the transatlantic slave trade, European colonialism in Africa, African nationalism, the Cold War in Africa, and African political economy. This particular emphasis is on the international history of West Africa from the 19th century to the present. Moreover, Dr. Fuller's secondary research interests includes the history of slavery, marriage, and ethno-national identity formation in the African diaspora in Latin America, particularly Ecuador, Peru, Colombia, and Jamaica. Dr. Fuller's publications includes a co-edited book, Money in Africa, an article in the referee journal, Nations and Nationalism, as well as other print media. He is working on a monograph on symbolic nationalism in Ghana during the Nkrumah years. He edited and contributed a paper to a special forthcoming issue of the peer-reviewed journal, Ghana Studies, to commemorate the birth centennial of Ghana's first president. Dr. Fuller is a member of the American Historical Association, the African Studies Association, and the Ghana Studies Association. And without further ado, I will turn the podium over to Dr. Fuller.
Thank you very much. I'm very humbled and very excited to be here tonight to introduce this film and to have a conversation with you about the film. I want to thank Lisa for the wonderful introduction. I would also ask everyone to give Lorna another resounding round of applause. let me just say of Lorna that, you know, it really takes dedicated people to advocate for a very important thing. And I think that the recognition of June as Caribbean American Heritage Month is very fitting. If I may, let me just add a few other names to peoples of Caribbean ancestry who've made a mark on this country. First, let's talk about the armed forces of the United States. Let's recognize General Colin Powell, Biggie Smalls.
Yes, sir.
Malcolm X.
Yes, sir.
Shirley Chisholm.
Yes, sir.
Cheryl Lee Ralph.
Yes, sir.
In other words, Caribbean folks have made a significant contribution to this country, and we've also benefited greatly from being here. And so again, I really want to thank Lorna for doing this, and I hope to see this happen across the country as well. Let me also acknowledge the Avery Research Center, of course, CLA, and of course the mayor of the city, Mayor Riley. I think that it's very important when our elected leaders recognize you know, our participation in this culture and in this history. Now, incidentally, again, I'm representing Akwantu The Journey, which was produced and directed by my colleague Roy Anderson. Now, Roy and I share one thing in common. We are both Jamaicans, Jamaican-born. Roy is a descendant of the Leeward Maroon community in Jamaica. There are two sort of distinct Maroon regions in Jamaica. So Roy is from the western part. My ancestry is from the windward or eastern part of Jamaica, from the Rio Grande Valley or the Moortown Maroons. And incidentally, Roy is currently on his way to Charlestown,
yes, sir,
Jamaica. Charlestown, which is one of the 4 remaining Maroon communities in Jamaica, and he is actually launching the film in the Maroon community of Charlestown. So again, I think that what we'll see in this film, and what I hope to have is a discussion about connections, right? Because there are so many things that, you know, there's so many things that unite us, and I think that they supersede the things that divide us. And before I, you know, introduce the film, out of respect for my Maroon ancestry and out of respect for Jamaica, which is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, and we should also acknowledge Trinidad and Tobago, who's also celebrating its 50th anniversary. I will just repeat a little of what I said in my mother tongue. So more for tongue, everybody to come out tonight to come sit up and train me. We represent young people. Because enough thing we do for that country, and we get a lot of benefit from that country. So we really just want to say enough respect to everybody to come out to support the film and just make we keep the culture alive. See?
See? Yes, sir.
Can you lower dim the lights, please, before you...